Good evening, class. My name is Chase Alexanian, and the next presentation is going to be on the balancing act of leadership. In the Marine Corps, we strive ourselves on our ability to lead and influence people. We view leadership that it's more of an art than a science. It's a dynamic, it's painful, it's time consuming, but it is a priceless gift. We spend a lot of time and effort to develop leaders. Most Marine Corps leadership principles support either one of two things, mission accomplishment or troop welfare. The challenge of any leader is to balance these two objectives. Unfortunately, as an institution, the Marine Corps has failed to emphasize one key word: balance. The consequence is a group of leaders that struggle with balancing mission accomplishment with troop welfare. As you all know, our current operational commitments continue to shift. Marine Corps leaders have lost their perspective on what true balanced leadership is, which, if it's not corrected, will degrade the Marine Corps' ability to sustain future operational tempos. The Marine Corps must educate leaders on the benefits of balancing mission accomplishment with troop welfare. While they do act independently of each other, and some leaders tend to favor one over the other, in the end, you have to have them both to be successful. War has historically been an incentive for innovation, while peacetime has fostered focusing on your career and structure in the Marine Corps. The battlefield is increasingly dispersed and complex, making new demands on combat leaders. General Krulak, the 31st Commandant of the Marine Corps, called upon the fundamentals of the Marine Corps leadership to answer present challenges with the core values of the Marine Corps, our 14 leadership traits, and the 11 leadership principles. Major General Jones expressed concern about the motives of the officer corps in the area of personal ambition and leadership. He stated that success in the Marine Corps does not equate to the accomplishment to the rank of a general officer. The desire for personal promotion in a leader, in fact, will distract the leader from making objective mission decisions. Leaders are required to make decisions based on the requirements of the mission and to make the best use of their unit's resources, which is the people that work for you. And this application of utilitarian ethics proves prevalent. It states that the actions are just if they are useful for the benefit of the majority. It promotes happiness, a word not commonly associated in the Marine Corps. A leader and a friend are two different roles played by the same person. A leader must be able to self-sacrifice, put his personal desires behind those of the good of others. It's really not about you when you're the leader. It's about those people that work for you. A leader must be able to not be consumed with earning glory and medals and taking the spotlight away. It basically violates the whole key point of the greater good. On the other side, if he coddles his men and basically jumps every time they say jump and doesn't really hold them to standards, it's going to be pretty difficult for him to establish that seniority and that billet of responsibility. So, the primary objective of Marine Corps leadership is obviously mission accomplishment. We really focus on this. It's kind of why we're here, right? There would be no point in the Marine Corps if we didn't get the job done what needed to be done. So as a leader, you have to look at different goals to attain mission accomplishment. There's long-term goals for the team and short-term goals for the organization, which basically is just a building block. And then obviously, like I said, the secondary objective of the Marine Corps leadership is troop welfare. I use the secondary objective loosely because I know it is pretty much impossible to accomplish mission accomplishment without taking care of your Marines. The Marine Corps defines leadership as the sum of those qualities of intellect, human understanding, and moral character that enables a person to inspire and to control a group of people successfully. Pretty much what the duty of Marine leaders is to have to their subordinates. This theory basically displays the obligations that leaders have to recognize and then deliberately conform their behavior, their styles, how they go about interacting and treating the people that they work with. The 4 indicators that kind of allows a leader to see this is just by looking at his people, is the morale of their troops or people working beneath them. Esprit de corps, basically, how motivated are they? Kind of goes into morale, can be a little bit different. You can be in a crappy situation but still have high spirits. The discipline, if you have a gangly bunch of guys, no one can take direction, no one takes orders, just kind of gaps you off. And the proficiency, obviously we want everyone to be proficient at their job. We kind of enact this type of thing. It's one thing that the Marine Corps prides themselves on is the chain of command and small unit leadership. There's a lot of organizations that use a top-down approach. I like to think that the Marine Corps uses a bottom-up approach. It's probably one of the only organizations in the entire world where there's young adults and 19, 20 years old that make decisions that can affect our country's foreign policy overseas. Decisions that they make that be good or bad, broadcasted all over the news, worldwide, and it's pretty crazy to think. But like I said, the chain of command is very important for a leader. It allows him to supervise, communicate, maintain effective control all the way down to the lowest level individual. And it allows him to inspire and develop his subordinate leaders because, it's a ladder. Everybody wants to go up the ladder. Pretty much do this, implement this use of effective leadership by empowering your subordinates. And you do that by, instead of just delegating and telling them what to do, you want to basically have them adopt the mission as their own. So if you walked around saying, hey, step 1 through 12, this is how you do everything. Well, if you step out of the picture, is your team going to be effective? Are they going to be able to carry those out without you barking down their throats or telling them how to do everything? So if you basically just give them an end state, an overarching principle of what you want to accomplish, and they take the mission, adopt as their own, and you'd be very surprised in the caliber of work that they can produce. There's several Marine leaders that would argue that mission accomplishment is the utmost single important aspect of leading. If you can't accomplish the mission, then what good are you as a leader? There is a lot of truth in that. However, these leaders fail to realize that the end does not always justify the means. Sun Tzu stated, "Regard your soldiers as your children, and they will follow you into the deepest valleys. Look on them as your own beloved sons, and they will stand by you even unto death." Personally, I've had leaders that have inspired me to follow them into whatever hellhole they led me to. It didn't matter. I've also had leaders that I would question following them into a building if I'd let them go in by themselves. So it's just the individual and how they can reach their Marines. Basically, in conclusion of my presentation, all leaders are subject to one thing or the other, either to their own selfish ambitions or to the service of our nation and to those that they lead. because it's not, like I said earlier, it's not about the leader, it's not about the individual, it's about the organization, it's about the Marines. Current Marine Corps leadership philosophy tends to exclude the latter of taking care of your Marines. As the Marine Corps continues to educate future leaders on balancing mission accomplishment with troop welfare, I think that leaders will naturally become more effective in their communication with Marines, and they'll find the keys to success. All the after actions we do, every day leaders get better. We get better at leading, influencing, encouraging, developing, mentoring. It's kind of the whole, need all the pieces of the puzzle. So this is my presentation on the balancing act between Marine Corps leadership, mission accomplishment, and troop welfare. I hope you enjoyed it.